Today is Monday, August 22nd. The time is 5:30 p.m. This is the meeting of the Paris City Council, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. We will start the meeting as usual with invocation by Mr. Anderson, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Ms. Lancaster. If I can have everyone please stand.
May we pray? Heavenly Father, we're indeed thankful for the opportunity to be here tonight. We just pray, Father, again, that you would guide and direct our elected officials, that, Father, they might make wise decisions. Father, we thank you for the privilege and the blessing of living in this country and in this state and in this city. And we just pray that we would do all things to your glory and honor. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can you please put the... Item number 4 is Citizens Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meeting Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city, council members, or employees, as well as individual personnel appeals, are not appropriate for the Citizens Forum. The Citizens Forum is now open. If you want to address the council, please come forward, write your name and address for the record.
My name is Billy Bell. I live at 2054 Cleveland Street. I'm here again tonight on the security cameras the chief is wanting to have installed. I still don't believe it's the responsibility of the citizens of Paris to have to pay for private businesses to have security cameras, number one. Number two, the money that we're going to spend on this, think about before you make a decision, is all I'm asking. Hire another officer, put him downtown and cover this area that the cameras are going to cover. I think it would help on public relations and everything else. If you need a place to put him at night, when it gets cold or something, you've got the Grand Theater over there, you could open up and put him an office in there. There's several different things we can do instead of installing cameras at the citizens' expense. I think it's totally unfair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Mr. Gladfelter.
Good afternoon. I have a proposal, a counter proposal to the cameras in downtown Paris. Currently, a retail operation is measured by the floors that the building occupies. The buildings downtown were built for retail. Most of them are 3 stories, and they only have a 33% occupancy rate. If the second and third floor are empty, they're not fully occupied. Why not let the shopkeepers donate space for a police substation in and around downtown? The shops, sometimes I go shopping downtown myself. Go into the various shops, I buy $9 bars of soap that they sell, the $20 pints of olive oil, the $60 a place setting dinnerware. In other words, there's nothing practical downtown. The people get a resale tax number and they acquire a hobby as a shopkeeper. They put locks on their front door, they put burglary systems in their shops, and they're asking me to spend my money and to give up my right to privacy so they can have cameras. I have hobbies. How about buying me a Lionel train with all the bells and whistles? You can all spend your money on that, and I won't take your right to privacy away. I won't be invasive to you, because this is how absurd these cameras are. I will not pay for somebody's hobby, and they can buy their own cameras. Meanwhile, I have something to say to the police. The present police administration has gotten complacent. Technology and threatening privacy should never replace solid police work. We've already bought them one toy called a drone, and we don't need to encourage them any further. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's nobody else wanting to address the Citizens Forum is now closed. I'm sorry.
My name is James Belcher. I'm involved with
Sir,
restoration.
your name, address, please.
James Belcher, Belcher.
Address.
Trying to do the best I can on 5th Street Northeast. I'm paying water bills in part-time residence down there. It's almost $70. I didn't use any water, and I paid almost $70 a day on a house. I'm doing the best I can down there, and I have people come in and help me, you know, and we don't use that much water, you know, and I think that that's just absorbent, you know, use 2-3 gallons of water and pay for all that service. I haven't had a bag of trash on that curb in a month. The sewer, basically non-existent down there that I'm paying for, you know. We don't see much services down there. Our houses aren't as nice. I'd like to see the same service in that district as we see in the district you live in, sir. That's all I got to say.
What is the, can we look into this?
Yeah, I'll look at his water account and see, and verify that he's been charged appropriately.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else wanting to address the Citizens Forum? If not, the Citizens Forum is now closed. We'll move to the next agenda item, which is the consent agenda. Any of the council members have any questions or concerns on the consent agenda? Mr. Frierson, I'm sorry, Mrs. Drake.
No, sir.
Mr. Frierson? No. Mr. Plata? Oh. Sorry about that.
That's okay. No, sir, I have no questions.
No questions, okay. Mr. Jenkins?
No, sir.
I've not forgotten Mr. Plata at least.
We're friends.
Ms. Lancaster?
No question.
Okay, I have no questions on this. Who wants to make a motion on this?
Make a motion we approve.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Regular agenda is the next agenda item. Discuss and act on a hotel occupancy tax agreement with Lamar County Chamber of Commerce.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Gerald. I'm the current chairman through October of this year of the Lamar County Chamber of Commerce. I wanted to introduce Ken. I know you all know him very well, but before I did that, I wanted to thank you all for what you do for our city and for the partnership that our organizations share with one another. I especially want to brag a bit on John. John's been very helpful, as well as his staff, with quite a few events that we put on through the year. We've had some excellent success. I'm going to let Ken talk about that and not steal his thunder, but we've really appreciated the amount of work that the city has put into, especially some of our events that we run through the hotel occupancy tax that we help you manage. So we appreciate that partnership. It's been a good one for a long time. I wanted to thank you all on behalf of our board and all three boards that we represent. So without any further, I'll turn it over to Ken and let him give you the particulars of both agenda items.
As you know, we've been working on the lease agreement with John for a while. I'm sorry he couldn't be here, but I'm glad it's a wonderful reason that he's not going to be here. We're excited about his new grandchild on the way, so that'll be great. The lease agreement that you see is pretty much very similar to the last agreement. There are two major sections, and in the brevity of time, I just want to hit those two major changes. Like I said, everything else is pretty much the same. Section 2, future hot rate increases. As you know, we've discussed ways to finance capital improvements for especially the Love Civic Center. One of the ways to do this is to increase the hotel motel tax. We're currently at 13 cents. We can go up to 15 cents. If we ever make that change in that, what this mechanism sets up is a reserve fund held by the city for capital improvements. And when we need things, and I'll give you an example shortly, we could come to the council and ask permission to move forward and use those funds. An example would be, you all were aware that we had some issues with the roof recently, last year. We finally got them fixed. The roof is no longer raining inside. But when we looked at our options, one of the options was to replace that roof. It was going to be over $350,000. In our current budget state, that would be almost impossible for us to do. So if we're able, the building right now is a 23-year-old building. The roof expectancy is 30 years. So we have time, if we do this, to move, to build up a little reserve to replace that roof. So that's why that's in there. Again, that would be in the future, but we wanted to put that in there because that is a way to finance some of the big capital expenses that go along with that building. The other part that we wanted to go in is the term of the agreement. We've asked for a 10-year term with a 364-day, John wouldn't give me 365-day, opt-out. And the reason for the 10-year, one of the things that we're looking at as we look at the amount of work that has to go on with the Civic Center is a way to go out and finance that. For some reason, banks don't want to really loan you a lot of money when you're looking at a 1-year contract, or a renewable contract every year that has a 90-day out. It's just not something they want to bank on. So that's the reason for the change there. We talked about a 20-year, but we settled for a 10-year, and we think we can get proper financing and have enough income from the hotel motel tax to service that debt. Any questions about the contract?
I don't have a question, but I wanted to address it just briefly. We have made a couple of changes to the agreement that you have in your packet. They're very minor. We changed the name of it from agreement to hotel occupancy tax agreement and changed some typos, and that's the only difference in that and what you've got in your packet. The only issue that I have with it is the opt-out provision, the length of time of the notice to opt out of that 364 days. I've never seen anything that long. I would recommend you not going any longer than 180, but that's at your discretion.
The reason for the 364-day, and again, we asked for a year, is for the planning and the budgeting. As you look at the indebtedness that we may take on to do the financial instruments, to make changes in our budgets and your budgets, we hope that opt-out doesn't ever come into effect, but it does give us proper time, we feel like, to make those changes in both organizations. And so that's the reason for the 364.
I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Myers.
Ken, on that same subject, when you, I'm assuming, have had at least preliminary talks with lenders, what is their temperature or feel on number of days required for an agreement?
The longer, the better.
Yeah.
I mean, without a doubt.
Was there any sort of minimum that they would accept, or did that question ever even
We didn't really
arise?
broach that question. I mean,
It depends on the
they're
individual
looking
institution,
for
I'm sure.
bankable, and of course, part of the clause is that part of the agreement is if we in fact do opt out, or you guys opt out, that debt stays with the city. And so that's one of the reasons it protects you on that side as we convert that debt over.
So for lack of a better term, it would give us a reasonable amount of time to get our house in order.
Same with us.
Right.
It's a win-win on both sides, in our opinion.
Okay.
Can please clarify something for me? Did you just say that you can make, when we do this, you can make an agreement for an X amount of dollars, and the agreement that you have, the city will have to carry the debt if the thing is terminated?
Right. Before we make any kind of long-term, though, we would come to the city and request that permission to do
Okay.
that.
So the city's
there's
permission will
protection
be
on their
taken
side.
before you take on the debt?
Right,
Okay.
right.
And-
There's protection on both sides.
Okay.
We always want to be fair and
And-
transparent.
And my other question to you would be, if the debt has been taken over and there's a certain amount of money, say you take a debt for $1 million, 500,000 is spent and 500,000 is left, I take it that the city will get that 500,000?
Right.
Okay. Anyone else has any questions? Continue, please. Continue on.
You want to go ahead and
Do
move on
you have
this?
anything else to say?
No, I'm through.
Okay. Anyone of your group has anything to say? No? Okay. All right. Ms. Drake, any questions?
No, sir, I think that answered anything that I had in my mind.
Mr. Frierson?
No, just speaking from experience, as Ms. Drake and I were both at a function Saturday night out there, it's a great facility, and I think this would go a long way in securing future events, and I think we should all be on board with it.
Thank you. Mr. Trinado? Won't make them stay twice. Once is bad enough.
Everything's going good.
Mr. Jenkins?
I'm fine with it.
Ms. Lancaster?
Do we have any questions?
I would like to get the city attorney's advice again on, based on what she feels, should it be 180 or 364?
I think it should be 180. I mean, I hear what he's saying. It's just, if you've got a situation that is not going well, I've just never seen that before, where you have to wait a year before you can sever that relationship. That's just a really long time to me,
Okay.
but that's up to you guys.
I'll make a motion to approve with the city attorney's advice of 180 days.
I'll second
All in favor? Any further discussion on this?
Yeah, I just,
Sure.
first of all, I support the agreement and want to make that very clear. I guess if I have to vote against this, it's purely for the year term that was presented. It's something that's been worked out with Ken and John, and I realize we have full final approval, but I do think there are a lot of mechanisms that go into this when you start talking about replacing air conditioners and roofs and things like that, and I'd hate to find that at the will of I guess, a political motivation as opposed to the long-term security of the facility itself. So I'm stuck on the date personally, but that's my 2 cents.
Personally, I have no political motivation in this, but I'm going to go with the city attorney's advice. My motion stays the way it is. Any further discussion on this? No. All in favor? People opposed? Ms. Drake, you're opposed or?
Opposed.
Opposed. Okay. Mr. Frierson, you are
That's the way the winds are blowing, man.
4 or
4.
4? So 5 to 1.
Are you for it or against
4. Might as well.
Well, I'll go with the rest of the crowd.
Well, we voted, so we'll have to
Okay.
redo this. We cannot
Okay,
change it
I'll
now.
leave it as it is.
Thank you. Item number 13 is receive presentation and act on the fiscal year 2016-17 budget for the Love Civic Center and Visitors and Convention Council. Mr. Higdon. By the
I
way,
guess it's
I
my
do
turn
want to appreciate you sending all of that information way ahead of time.
Yes.
I think that is very, very helpful, and we appreciate your work, and I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you, Mayor. We appreciate that. Mayor and Council, we appreciate the opportunity to come before you and discuss the budgets on both the Paris Visitors Convention Council and the Love Civic Center. We've experienced another great year, and we've hit a new record with the hotel occupancy tax. We just received our latest payment, and for the last 4 quarters showed a total revenue of $748,931.60, up from $621,201.69 for the same 4 quarters in the prior years. That represents a 21% increase, which is just fantastic. We hosted multiple meetings, rallies, and events this year. We've experienced a continued success in cycling, sporting events, square dancing, motor events, dog competitions, and archery. We have partnered with the Paris Area Arts Alliance and the Blue Society for the Tour de Paris this year, which helped boost cycling events, room nights, up to 375 rooms. Motor events generated over 320 nights. Sporting events generated over 425 nights. Square dancing, which is 3 different conventions, by the way, accounted for over 400 rooms. Archery continues to generate the largest number of room nights with over 1,600 rooms used. If you remember last year, we secured an extension with ASA to have to make it a 10-year contract. This year, we've also secured an additional regional event for shooters from 4 states that will be held in July of 2017. Also, the Archers in Christ hosts a Western Regional Shootout, which generates part of that room total. They do a fantastic job as well. So archery is probably our biggest hit as far as rooms used. Not only that, but we've generated hotel motel tax, but these attendees also brought in a lot of extra dollars. They spend in our restaurants, they spend in our retail stores, and they spend in our filling up with our gas in our gas stations. So they bring a lot of outside dollars in, which is real important. We've had great success with some new events as well. We had a military convoy come through. We had dog competitions, several new ones. The Wings Over Paris, which was the city of Paris, did a great job and brought back the Optimus Dixie Team League Major Baseball Tournament with over 200 nights. Lake Crook continues to be a great asset for the community. This year, the Southern Drag Boat Association hosted its second race in Paris. This year, we had over 102 drag boat teams from multiple states. This was their largest event for the year, even greater than San Angelo, which has been over 10 years in existence. They only had 98 entries. We also signed originally a 3-year commitment with them. After the success they've had here in Paris, they're talking about a 10-year commitment, which is fantastic for us. We also, of course, the visitors and convention business is very competitive. We also secured the Cushman Mustang Scooters Clubs, which will be visiting us in October, Crime Stoppers Junior Convention in February, the Half de Paris Marathon, that's a hard one to say, which will be held in March. Also, we'll be using the Net Trail as part of their course. We also have the Southwest Tandem Bike Rally, which will be in April. We've increased our marketing and advertising, and we're doing a better, bigger job with that. Some of the magazines that you may have seen our ads in include the Texas State Travel Guide, the Texas Highway Magazine, the Texas Event Calendar Magazine, the Authentic Texas Heritage Magazine, the Northeast Texas Tourism Travel Guide, Red River Valley Tourism Brochure, and by placing rack cards in the Texas travel centers and various tourism and chamber facilities across the state, we've increased visibility about Paris. We also partnered with the Texas Hotel and Lodging Association to promote our lodging facilities both domestically and internationally. Last but not least, there's a significant increase. We're experiencing a significant increase of daytime visitors to our visitors center downtown, which is housed at the Lamar County Chamber of Commerce. It's amazing to see the vast number of visitors from literally all over the world. Last week we had folks in from New Zealand, which I think that's the first time I've seen New Zealand. But at the Love Civic Center, we are on a continuous improvement plan. This year we added to the security system the automatic lighting sensors. Several new air conditionings were repaired or replaced. We fixed our biggest challenge, the roof leaks in the main hall. We also worked with the Lamar National to add an ATM at the convention center, which has come in very handy. We also have a lot of opportunities with the Love Civic Center. We repaired the floor in the main hall. We installed electrical, water, and sewer hookups for 12 new RV spots, and we're going to be bidding on the pad, the concrete or asphalt pad that behind the center, which will complete that project. We are gathering bids for also new sound, lighting, video, and many other repairs and updates and maintenance issues. This year we hosted over 88 events, some single, some multi-day. This generated about 33,000 visitors to the Civic Center. Our leadership is looking for ways to attract additional weekday and events while addressing the challenges of not having enough open times during the weekend. Overall, the Civic Center is a challenge, but we're optimistic about the direction the facility is going. I'd like to thank the community volunteers, those who are serving on the boards of VCC and LCC from the chamber membership, who this year donated over 5,000 hours to make these multiple events successful. I'd also like to thank the staff of the chamber, the Visitors and Convention Council, the Love Civic Center for their dedicated service and work to secure and manage and maintain these relationships with the multiple groups that come to Paris and the multiple groups, whether local or from out of town, that use the Love Civic Center. We look forward to another exciting year. We'd like to start with the budget. I'm going to just hit the highlights. I tried to send you guys that information ahead of time. The good news is
Mr.
under
Higgins,
hotel motel tax.
Can I stop you for just one
Yes, sir.
second? All of us on the council have seen the budget, correct? Does anyone want him to go over the budget?
Essence of time, I'd be glad.
We don't need you to go over
No
the budget.
problem.
Gene, do you have any interest
Less is
in going
more,
over
Ken.
the budget?
No,
Okay, do you have anything to point out on the budget?
no.
Okay,
We're good, thanks.
all right. Okay.
Need a motion.
Yeah, I'm not done yet.
Sorry.
Ms. Drake, questions?
No questions.
Mr. Frierson?
No, I just enjoyed the presentation.
Yes.
Mr. Tornado?
No, sir.
Mr. Jenkins?
Yeah, about the asphalt, are you talking about where the kids play basketball?
I'm sorry. Mr. Jenkins, but what we did was we put in 12 new RV spots behind the Civic Center. ASA uses that area a lot because it's that vacant lot behind the area, and that's where we do some of the warm-up shooting galleries and all the vendors set up back there behind the Civic Center. So we put in the water, sewer, and electrical hookups for 12 RV spots. But we need to put a pad down that it's gravel right now, and so that's one of the things we wanted to complete.
Okay, could we look at somebody for the asphalt where they play basketball?
No, it's just the RVs.
Just for the
behind the
RVs?
center.
Okay, all right.
And we also use that for instance, the Balloon Fest, they set up their vendors back there
Right.
as well and use that electrical
Okay.
and water.
Thank you. Ms. Lancaster?
No questions.
I have no further questions on this item. I'd like to make the motion to approve this as presented.
I
Second.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No further discussion, correct?
Correct.
All right. All in favor, so that item is done. Item number 14 is receive presentation of budget requests from nonprofit agencies. Mr. Anderson?
We always have a number of nonprofits request funding from the city. This year, we had a couple of new ones. The Breakfast Optimist Club, for one, and the Northeast Texas Trail for a second one. And these are not currently included in the proposed budget, and the council requested that they come and make a presentation about what they want to do. So,
Who's making the
Mary
presentation?
Clark is making one.
Ms. Clark, you have a presentation?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Cochran, thank you.
What you're getting is a pocket map that's been developed under the leadership of Pat Cochran that shows the entire Northeast Texas Trail and the status of its development. And it's been a very popular map. We were giving them out at the Tour de Paris. And I have to tell you, there are many people who had no idea that this trail existed, and they were from the Metroplex. So it was a great tool to have to start discussion about it. My name is Mary Clark. I'm here representing the Northeast Texas Trail Coalition. This is a relatively new organization. It's 4 years old, and it is a nonprofit, a 501c3 organization, and we formed it 4 years ago. It was established as an advocacy group for the trail. We think of the trail as just what comes through Paris, but it goes 130 miles from Farmersville to almost to Texarkana. And we needed to coordinate efforts to develop that trail, and we needed to communicate. And so it began. And it has been successful in many ways. But this year, this spring, we did strategic planning, and it was a really big effort. And we had representatives from all along the trail. And let me just, as an aside, make sure you understand that the board members of this nonprofit come from all along the trail. So it's got broad representation. From that strategic planning, an amazing amount of ideas and energy came out of it. We had 4 solid committees that had lists of things they wanted to get done, and they had to prioritize them. And of course, the obvious one is promotion of the trail use and more events and more overnight stays and more economic development and standardizing the development of the trail and finding more grants. But the biggest goal was to have this designated as a Texas State Park, which would make all those development and maintenance issues go away. This is not out of the realm of possibilities, and efforts have been even started on that as we speak. But what happened in getting all of these ideas is it became overwhelming. It became so complicated that we realized that volunteers were not enough. Earl Erickson, we have ridden on the shoulders of Earl Erickson for many, many years, and we've all benefited from it. But he is wearing out. He is not here tonight because he's down in Avery talking to the city council down there. He is nonstop worker. But it has become so complicated that one of the goals that came out of this effort was we need an executive director. And this is not just an administrative position. It is a major position with many skills needed. Problem solving, project management, looking for more grants and funding for the trail. But it would be so helpful to have one person there who could harness all of these ideas and keep us moving forward. This person will be an employee of the Northeast Texas Trail Coalition, the 501c3 organization, and they will supervise it. And what we have done is we have taken all of those ideas that came out of the strategic planning, and we have put it into that job description. We also have first-year deliverables that we have available that we know exactly what we want this person to do to help promote and develop the trail. Our goal is $300,000, but that funds 3 years of this position, not just the salary, but the office itself. We have gone out for various commitments from along the trail. We've been talking to communities and counties and chambers and VNCCs. We want to get a large amount of seed money so that when we take the next step of raising the money, we can show there was consistent support for it all along the trail. Our smallest contribution was $100 from Ladonia, but they gave us something. But Ann Rushing, you know Ann, she's the mayor over in Clarksville. She said I could use her example. They are so committed to this idea of this position that Clarksville and Red River County have cobbled together a $4,000 per year commitment to this position. And we are much bigger than they are. We have many more resources here. And we've got the hotels, we've got the restaurants. We're the ones sitting on the gold mine. And so we are asking this city council to commit to $10,000 per year for a 3-year period. We are really hopeful that this will be such a strong position and do so much to move forward on the full development of the trail that everyone's going to want to continue its position. The City of Paris has had an admirable history of supporting nonprofits who advance the interests of the city. And that is exactly what this position would do. You've been crucial in the success of the trail, and we are asking that your openness will continue. And it is exciting to think that what we can do, and we need to do it now. Earl is 75 years old. We need to train a successor for him, and he will do that. And when we have that person in place, the best news is that we'll have 2 full-time people, our new executive director and Earl, because Earl's not going anywhere. And the connections that he has along this trail are absolutely phenomenal, and he's now developing statewide connections that I think are going to serve us very, very well. And we need that person working alongside him and doing all the other work that's come out of this strategic planning to bring a financial success here, just as has been brought in other communities that have done this. So I'm open to questions.
Ms. Clark, where will this office be set up?
When?
Where?
Oh, where? We want it to be here in Paris because we're the center of the trail. We have a good potential of having free office space provided for that here. And we have Earl here to train that person and work with them. So that's our number one hope. If we find the right person and that person is not here and will not come here, then we've got to look at the possibility of that person working from home. But the real preference is to be here and to hire someone in this area.
Ms. Drake?
The other cities along the trail, have you gotten any kind of feel from them besides Clarksville as to?
I can tell you what they're asking.
Okay.
I know that Lamar County is at 5,000, and I think we're pretty hopeful about getting that. Blossom is 2,500. Reno is 2,500. New Boston is 2,500. Bowie County is 5,000. And of course, Paris is 10,000. Farmersville Chamber of Commerce, they've committed to 3,000 a year. And did I say DCAD at 2,500? Okay. And then we've also been talking to local foundations. First Federal has committed 10,000 a year for 3 years. We've asked 5,000 to both Greater Paris Development and Chaparral. And when I say 5, that's 5 per year. All of these are per year. So, and then the RAM Foundation has committed to 10,000 per year.
And what is y'all's goal as far as a time period on trying to get this up and going and having somebody?
Well, we'd
hired?
really hope to get it done this fall, and I think there's still a chance of that happening,
Okay.
which would mean then we would have that person in place the first part of next year.
Okay.
Ken, did you put anything in the budget for her? What does that Mr. Frierson?
I don't know that I have many questions, Mary. I would just say real quick, I was in that Leadership Lamar County with Earl when the idea came up, and he and I disagreed on this in the beginning in terms of projects, and looking back years later, I could not have been more wrong. His vision for this has been incredible, and the development that it's had has brought a lot of great things to a lot of people. So you're right, Earl's put in yeoman's work for years, and if this is the logical step, then
I
think you're taking the right steps.
I do have a story, if I have time for it, it won't take but a minute, but at the Tour de Paris, I was talking to a couple, and they travel all over to ride bikes. And I said, you should come to Paris, spend the weekend. We've got a nice part of the trail here. They asked, how long is it? I said, 12 miles. They said, that's not long enough. I said, oh, but we just got 3 TxDOT grants, and it's going to be open from Clarksville all the way to Roxton. And they said, well, how long is that? I said, 45 miles. And they said, that's long enough. We'll come spend the weekend in Paris for that. And that's what Earl Erickson has been telling us for years. And that's what's going to happen if we can get it opened up.
Mr. Trinado?
That was a great presentation that you gave, Ms. Clark, and it
Thank
really
you.
looks good to me.
Thank you.
Mr. Jenkins?
I have no questions.
Ms. Lancaster?
My question is, who does this group, who does your executive director going to answer to?
Oh,
Yeah, I am. I'm sorry. I realized I was pretty far away. Is that better?
yes. They will be answering to the Northeast Texas Trail Coalition, the nonprofit,
Okay.
which has the representatives from all along the trail. And I am looking back here, and we have quite a few supporters back here today. I forgot to recognize them. So, but that's who it would have to be, because that's where the money is going to.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Paul Wells is it's the accountant for that, and is going to be managing this campaign. It's financial side to it.
Ms. Clark, I don't have any questions. I think it's a good idea. I do want to say one thing. There's a technical issue with you asking for 3 years. It can only be done for 1 year at a time.
And I understand that. I'm hoping that if the city council can say, we can only commit to 10,000, but we hope that other councils will do it, then that could be helpful for us when we come back.
Well, is this an action item?
No.
It's not an action item.
No, it's just receive presentations.
Okay.
So the next step is, would it be added into the budget then?
We'll have to put it as an agenda item for the council to vote
Right.
on it.
Right, exactly.
And if there's enough support, which that's what it sounds like,
Okay.
then it should go through.
Perfect, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Nobody has any other questions, so, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clark.
Jean, do you have any questions? I'm sure the finance person.
Well, no, one question I noticed, and you brought it up about trying to get the state to take it over as a state park.
Yes,
Have y'all
uh-huh.
made any progress on that at all, or is that just something you've?
Oh, yeah, it's surprising, there's been one meeting at the state level,
Mm-hmm.
and Earl was there and Mike Donnan met with one of the commissioners of TxDOT, and there's a plan to set up a meeting in Austin in January for legislators to promote this idea, because next year is a legislative year. Yeah, that is definitely moving. We've been told it can take some years, but if we can get on the list, then that's huge.
Okay.
Yeah.
In y'all's session where you brainstormed different ideas, was there any discussion about the possibility of maybe the coalition trying to operate and maintain the trail? Was anything like that discussed?
No, it's a volunteer organization. That's not gonna happen.
Ms. Clark, actually, I do have one more question. How short are you? You said your total collection needed to be $300,000.
Mm-hmm.
How short are you on the funding?
Well, that's, I would say, assuming we get the commitments from the cities and the counties that we're expecting, that we're going to be, as seed money, have probably 50 to 60% of it already raised before we go out for a general campaign.
So these cities, the ones that you have named, have already gone through their councils and approved the amounts?
No, that's what I was saying. These are what are being recommended and
Okay.
are being, just like what's happening right now. So,
So there is a small possibility that even if we were to approve the 10,000, that it will not come through all the cities that you've named, and we might not reach that goal. Is that possible?
whatever
Or are they
is-
relatively committed?
Well, yeah, I think they're relatively committed.
Okay.
And what is not raised from the communities along the trail
Uh-huh.
would be raised in a more general campaign.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Nobody else has any other questions, correct? No. Thank you. Was there another
Yeah,
presentation?
the Paris Optimist Club had a request, I think. Is anybody here from that group? Okay,
No.
don't see anybody.
All right. We'll move to the next agenda item. We'll try to speed up a little bit. Item number 15 is discuss the 2016-17 budget for the City of Paris and act on a resolution calling a public hearing on the city manager's proposed budget for fiscal year 2016-17. Jean.
Okay. Y'all have been provided a copy of the budget already, and as John, I think, told you in his memo, he has made a few changes in it once we were given the certified tax roll. I have replacement pages for your budgets that I will gladly replace those for you if you'll bring me your budget. The key points are, I think, that John wanted to emphasize was that the tax rate is recommended to stay the same as it is now. We would be able to raise additional revenue at that same tax rate because of the reappraisal that was done this year. And that's very fortunate because we've got several large expenditures that have come up this year that we're having to fund. And in fact, if you looked at the notice that about the proposed tax rates that we will publish in the paper, it talks about, I believe it does, yeah, about what we would use, the increased revenues that we're going to receive because of the reappraisal. And the biggest three items that we had were the debt service on the 2 fire trucks that we purchased recently, the new EMS station that we're going to begin on this year, and then grant match on our trail and sidewalk grants. And that's basically going to eat up the increase in property taxes that we'll get because of the increased value. But if you have any specific line item questions or anything, I'll be glad to try to answer those.
Ms. Drake?
Not right now.
Not now. Anyone?
Not
No?
now.
Not at this moment.
So basically, we asked for a resolution? Is that-
Yeah, what we need to do is set the dates for the public hearing on the budget and on the tax rate.
Okay.
We have one public hearing will be scheduled for September the 6th on the budget, and 2 rate hearings. The first one is September the 6th, and the next one is September the 12th.
Okay. Yes.
Gene, if something were to come up rather quickly that you would want to add to the budget, at what point could you do that?
Well, the council would need to do that fairly quickly, maybe at one of these near meetings, because we'd have to have a published notice and have a hearing on just that one item that increased.
Okay.
Anyone has any questions? Okay, so we act on it by just take the dates as recommended by Jean?
Yes.
There are
For-
two resolutions.
Okay, that's for, this is item number 16 only that I'm talking about.
15?
Yeah, I'm so sorry, item number 15 is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, item 15 is setting the resolution that sets the public hearing on the proposed budget, and that's a separate item, so
Okay.
you need to
So
act
item
on it.
15 is what we are voting for, and I'd make the motion to go along with Jean as to the dates that he has recommended. I don't know what better way there is to put it. September 6th or whatever
September
date that
6th
you have.
in that case.
All right.
Second.
I'm sorry?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, you have it. Item number 16, discuss and act on a resolution calling for 2 public hearings on the proposed tax rate for fiscal year 2016-17. Jean, you already talked about it?
Yeah, basically said everything already, but the tax rate requires 2 public hearings, and so we've picked those 2 dates, the 6th and the 12th, as to be the most agreeable to our schedule.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve unless somebody wants to discuss this item.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Item number 17, discuss and act on a resolution approving and authorizing a new lease agreement with Archers of Christ for areas surrounding and adjacent to Lake Crow. Who's talking?
I will.
Okay. go ahead.
City Attorney.
I will, I did the lease. The Archers for Christ have leased the property around Lake Crook for 15 years, and they've maintained and used the property according to the terms of the original lease agreement. Their current lease agreement expires September 30th, and they requested a new agreement. We've just done a new agreement for a new term, 5 years with a 5-year renewal option that's identical to the last one. My report from staff is they're good stewards of the land, and we have had 0 problems with them. We would recommend approval of the lease.
And you're comfortable with the lease agreement?
I am.
Okay. Any discussion on this item? I'll
We
make
have
a motion.
several folks out here as well in support of that, I think.
Okay. Well, if you want to all stand so that we can see who all is here. All right.
Wow.
Very good.
There you go.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
There you go.
Motion carries. Item number 18, receive presentation on surveillance of camera project and provide direction to staff. Mr. Huntley, before you start, I had forgotten to ask Mr. Higdon one quick question. No, I'm not going back on the agenda item, I'm just asking a quick question. What is the hotel occupancy rate during the events, and what is the rate out of the time that we have the events? Mr. Patel is here too. I don't know whether you want to address or you. Just a simple question. No, not the tax rate. Occupancy is what I'm asking. Percentage occupancy of rooms. Yeah, but if what I'm asking is when there are no events going on, what is the occupancy? Pretty low. But you have a percentage? Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Hunley, back to you. We didn't
Mayor,
want you to sit
Council.
for long.
Didn't take much. We were asked to bring back an initial budget estimate of what it would cost to get the infrastructure in, along with 6 cameras. And from the party we've been getting the quotes from, it's going to be $49,800. That's pretty close to $50,000. And so if we move forward or anything like that, I think this would be something that would probably be best served by doing a bid, because it is getting so close to $50,000. Several years ago, we put in a point-to-point contact system for the mobile data in the patrol cars, ambulances, and fire trucks. And one of the things that the IT folks did that was very, very smart is they wrote into the contract that if it doesn't work, you come get it and go away, give us our money back. And so if we were to do something like that, I think that'd be a good thing to do on this as well.
Mr. Hunley, my first question is, can you address the 2 concerns that the 2 gentlemen had?
Unfortunately, in this day and time, we have a lot of situations where people who may witness a crime will not come forward. Either because, sometimes it's because they don't care. Sometimes it's because they're in fear of retribution. And what these cameras do is that they're going to give us some leads to try to follow on seeing somebody either moving on foot, moving in a car, or something like that, a license plate or something like that, that we give our follow-up investigators some kind of a lead to track down on. Where these cameras will be at and where they'll be focused at are public areas, not private residential areas. And again, nobody has a constitutional right to privacy in a public area. And that's where we would have these places at, to see if we can find anybody moving to or coming from an area where some type of crime took place.
And the other gentleman had a question as far as location of it. Why can't it be in downtown, or that's what you asked, right?
The areas that we think that they would come to the greatest fruition on providing us a lead would be where a lot of traffic is passing. And most all traffic, the 6 locations that we have that we're just brainstorming right off the bat would be the 4 corners of the plaza, one at North Main and Pine Bluff, and one at the Splash Park. We're very cognizant of the investment and everything down there. We want to protect that. But those 4 or 5 areas where there's a lot of traffic going back and forth would be something that might be able to provide us a lead on something.
No, I think he was concerned about the not placement of the cameras. He was concerned about where the monitoring station was. Did I get it right or wrong?
A basic peace officer, I mean, just hiring a brand new rookie, and Gene, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but once you pay salary, wages, and benefits, just to get him through the academy, you're spending about $64,000 on salary. And so if you hired one officer for the downtown area, that's going to be 40 hours a week that we're going to have coverage. And the way we look at these surveillance cameras is more of an augmentation that provides more than just what a single officer may or may not see. It's going to be something that's going to be there 24/7. Be about the only. I'd love to have a bunch of extra officers, but I don't think the amount of money that we spend on officers versus what we can spend on technology that might give us some leads. And there's no guarantee. I want to make sure I'm not being totally open about this. we'd have those cameras down there and something happened, they don't catch anything. That's, you know, that's entirely possible. But with them there, we have a better chance of seeing something.
Are these automated cameras, or is somebody watching the camera pictures throughout the day?
They actually will go straight to our dispatch center where the dispatchers can watch them if they have time. But the main thing we're going to do is something happens, we'll go back and review the video to see if it's caught anything, saw anything.
Ms. Drake?
No, sir.
No, okay. Mr. Frierson?
No, actually, Bob, that was going to be my question, was the trade-off between an actual person versus that. So nothing for now.
Okay. Mr. Trinado?
Chief, would you encourage the downtown businesses maybe to contribute to this or put one up in their place, or do you want to have the total control of it?
It's not really a question of control. It's better that the feed comes to us so that we can review it anytime we need to, number one. There are ways that, you know, and I hate to keep on going back to Gainesville, Texas, but that's where we went and looked at it and saw an operation. And they've had a couple of local businesses that bought their own camera and things like that. But again, the cameras are $1,200, $1,300. The biggest expense that we're talking about is the infrastructure of the servers and everything and getting that signal from point A to point B.
I think so. Come back to me in a minute. I have a question.
All right. Mr. Jenkins?
Is there a lot of crime going on down in that area right now?
No, it's not a question that there's a lot of crime downtown. What there's a question of is a lot of traffic, a lot of vehicle traffic, a lot of foot traffic, and that's what we're trying to look for.
Ms. Lancaster?
I originally brought this forward because of many concerns brought to me. Some of it did entail private property, but some of it did not. And I did note that the police chief had a different list than I did. And so people were willing to come and talk to me and maybe not so open with him. And I am concerned with some of the things that happened, and I don't want any of our visitors to get mugged or have that sort of a thing happen to them, and I certainly don't want our city to ever get that sort of a reputation. And that's the reason I thought we really needed to take a look at it.
It is.
And I do hear that private owners are willing to join in, but I am really concerned about our citizens being protected and it being something that happened to people.
I think it's, and you know, these are not like hidden cameras. They'll have a little police decal on them, that type thing. And I think all people try to behave a little bit better when they know they're being recorded.
Well, even that's helpful.
Yep.
All right. Ms. Drake, you wanted?
Yeah, I've had a few things that have popped up in my mind. Don't always call me first. It takes me a minute sometimes. Two things. Several things. In what Ms. Lancaster just said, that some people have told her they would be willing to contribute to the cameras. Is there a possibility, if we wanted to try to go forward with this, that we could actually talk and get some names and people that would be willing to commit toward this $49,000 for the camera themselves, and maybe the city just have to pick up the connection and the infrastructure and all of that, number one. Second thing is, I do know, and I'm not real sure, I guess it was their own private surveillance when the ranch, Providence Ranch was there and we had the burglary, that was part of how I think that was solved, was him being caught on the camera.
If I could say something, their surveillance camera is the reason why we solved that case.
That's what I'm saying. The way I understood it, that was why that case got solved, was because of that reason right there. And then I just lost my last train of thought. Thank you a lot, Chief.
While you're thinking, can I address one thing? As far as the initial cost, the servers and the transmitters, they're called broadcasters. We're talking about $1,200 a camera. So 6 cameras, that's what, $7,200 bucks? out of that 49.8, the biggest part of that 49.8 is the infrastructure.
Right,
Okay.
right, that's what I mean, but anything that we could have contributed toward that $49,000 would be a help to the city, is what I'm
Certainly
saying.
would be.
Okay.
Ms. Lancaster?
I had one other concern, and that is our park, which has become very popular with the children. And I have had some statements made to me that maybe the wrong type of people were sometimes coming down that, and I certainly do not want that to happen.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Some unwanted individuals.
Okay. We have made calls at the new splash park, and we've had some people that we've warned to stay away.
Good.
And when the patrol cars, when the guys have got reports that they're needing to do, they're sitting on that parking lot to do the report.
Well, we want our children to be protected.
You better believe it.
All right. Yes, Mr. Trinado?
I thought, I wrote it down and I didn't see it. It's been my first day of school with kids today, I apologize. The cameras themselves, is there any chance of people being able to shoot those out?
Oh,
Or
sure.
that's what I mean, so, that
And
mean,
you're putting up targets.
yeah,
When we talk to Gainesville again, and, you know, we use Gainesville a lot, there's other cities that have these
Right.
things. They have had one or two that have been shot in a couple of locations, believe it or not, around a cemetery. And their biggest problem is people that hit the poles that they're mounted on, that take out the pole and the camera. Mostly DWI drivers.
yeah.
But yeah, there's gonna be some vandalism, there's gonna be some damage to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'll shut up for right now.
Mr. Trinado?
Chief, what about the shopping center out there? Would that be a good place to put them, reckon?
There's 30-some odd places that we would love to put these things. And, you know, Town Park is a major area, Walmart's a major area, North Main, there's lots of places that we would like to put this, but we're trying to put something kind of central and grow out.
Well, I did notice that Berkshire seems to have a very active viewing, and they're monitoring that very often.
Yes.
I've watched it,
They are.
and they tell me they're having a terrible time with theft.
We make a lot of shoplifter calls.
Yes, I'm amazed at how fast Jimmy and Rocky are when they start running.
That's true.
Am I getting the general sense from the council that they want him to proceed further and maybe get bids to begin with and come back?
Yes,
Is
sir.
that the direction that everyone wants to take? If not, say so. Yes?
And I would also like for him to try to see if we can get in those businesses
Okay.
that would be willing to commit some money toward this.
So,
That you could come back and say, so-and-so said they'll do $2,000, or so-and-so said they'll give $5,000, or whatever.
All right.
so the general direction to him is proceed with getting the bids and support from the community? All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds
Right.
good.
Thank y'all very much.
Mr. Gladfelter, you want to say something?
This smacks of civil liberties abuse.
You don't want to protect your children.
He up 32 cameras, he originally wanted 24 cameras, he wants to put them by Walmart, he wants to put them here and there. You know, it won't be for what they want it for. They're going to abuse us. Let the businesses take care of the splash park, which supposedly didn't cost the public any money. They now want to put cameras there. We'll let the people who build the splash park put their own cameras in there. This just stop if they write books about things like this. George Orwell, 1984. It's all coming true, and you're abusing police powers. This is an abuse. This is another tool, and it isn't right. Scrub it off the agenda. It's wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Gladfelter.
Okay.
Yep.
You know what? I think if they save one person with these cameras out there, it's well worth it.
I'm not going to, just one second, please.
For
Whoa.
the children, that's the weakest link
I'm going
That's
to.
right, you wanted to keep the speed limit up there too, didn't you?
Mr. Trinado, please stop. Thank you. Please, go ahead.
The city is involved with the restroom there. And that we do have a responsibility.
Okay, a restroom is fine and dandy, that ain't a violation of civil rights. I mean, being washed everywhere you go, this is a snowball rolling downhill.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gladfelder. We'll move to the next agenda item. Discuss and provide direction to staff regarding renovations of existing buildings. Actually, I'm the one who put this agenda item, and I want to read something which I had put it in the agenda. And then, first of all, I do want to say that myself or my family own no downtown buildings. The thing did come to my mind partly because of the fact that I faced some issues, and that was we intend to follow all the rules and regulations, but I do want to say that there were some eye-openers which we didn't know, and as we investigated, we found out very good information. So I'm going to start this before you start your presentation. So as we look forward towards improvement in the appearance of our city, one of the things that very quickly pops out is the downtown area and old dilapidated buildings that are uninhabited. As time goes on and as buildings remain empty, they will further go into disrepair, eventually fall down, either injuring people or requiring the city to eventually incur the cost of demolition if the owner is not in a capacity to afford the costs. Some of the challenges that our city faces is the fact that we are off the main highways and there's not a large enough population to support growth, nor does the city have enough funds to assist in rejuvenation of the downtown area. Unlike places such as McKinney, their downtown has been rejuvenated due to their location or the population growth. In those areas, it is easy to follow all international, state, and local laws regarding safety and fire protection, since the property prices are much higher and return on investment is much greater. If we were to follow the international code completely as it was adopted many years ago, people would have to spend more money to renovate the buildings than the worth of the buildings, since our city is challenged by the fact that downtown property prices are not high enough. Now, the idea here is not that we should negotiate on safety by any means, since health, safety, and quality of life are the primary duties of this council that this council is entrusted with. As we talk about safety and the current conditions of the buildings, and I do not mean to imply that every building in downtown is unsafe, we as a city must be able to negotiate so that while safety remains a property, we don't make it so difficult for the owners that it becomes next to impossible to improve the current conditions of the buildings. As we can see from the memo from the city manager, some of it is myth and some of it is reality, but we must move forward and try our best to improve the conditions so that we provide a safe downtown environment and help the property owners bring their buildings up to a safety standard. I would suggest at this point that a committee of staff members, downtown owners, the fire chief be formed and bring back to the council a new set of suggestions that make the growth and renovation of our downtown properties much easier so that we can see some improvement here. Now, having said that, the city manager has provided some excellent literature and some excellent guidelines, and I think that is very good. And I think the fire chief will address some of those issues. And as one looks into it, some of it is myth that, everyone talks about that, the investment on the sprinklers is going to be more than the worth of the building. And as one can see from his memo, not every building requires all of those things, which is wonderful. But again, that is information that even I as a mayor did not know till we found out. And so I think if we can form a committee that comes up with a checklist of these are the requirements for downtown buildings, and it becomes as simple as you check off, and if that is there, that you'll get an approval, that'll be a much more simplified way rather than look for every code and everything that we end up needing to do. So that is what my suggestion was. And so the fire chief next, whatever you want to say, please.
I agree with you 100%, Mayor. I made a presentation before the Historical Preservation Committee to explain just that. There's a lot of myths out there about the downtown area that people were unaware that there were certain things that they didn't have to do
that they thought they had to do. First, I want to start off by saying that life and fire safety is our primary responsibility, and to extend a heartfelt sorrow to the people that lost things in the apartment fire last week. That is one of the prime examples of fire and life safety. Unfortunately, that apartment building was built in the early 70s before the fire codes actually blossomed, and by today's standards, that apartment building would not have been able to be built. The reason that apartment burnt so fast was there were no fire blocks in the attic, there were no sprinklers. As a result, the whole apartment complex burned rather than just the units that started the fire. That being said, we've worked with a couple of downtown owners already to compromise on some issues regarding sprinklers and exits in the building so that they could get their projects underway. Richard Hunt is one of them. In the downtown area, the only thing that's required to be sprinkled are restaurants that are over 5,000 square feet, which would be pretty unlikely in the downtown area if you kept them on one floor, or occupancy load over 100. Anytime you have a residence in a commercial building, no matter what floor it's on, whether it's the ground floor, the basement, upstairs, if there's residents living in that commercial building, it has to have sprinklers. There are buildings down there that already have sprinklers. The First National Bank building has one. Time Flies has a working sprinkler system. Chilongo's has a working sprinkler system. Several of the buildings already have them. They're just not operational. We don't require commercial sprinkler systems. Everybody thinks about these big black pipes that are running up the side of the wall and these big, huge sprinkler pipes all over the building. That's not required in most of the commercial or most of the ventures that would be in downtown. There's a very inexpensive system. It runs about $1.50 a square foot. It's tied into the normal water system in the building. Doesn't have to have special plumbing. And that suffices for most of the occupancies to be down there. We're in the process of talking to the engineers, the city engineer. When we redo the water system downtown, the water lines, we're going to try to develop a plan to have stub outs for those buildings so that when somebody does develop in the downtown area, it'll make it a lot more cost available for them to be able to do that, where they're not having to dig up streets, bore under streets, and so forth to get the water to the building. Storage. We've got the storage for businesses downtown is strictly allowed. If a person has a business down there and they want to store their wares, that's perfectly allowed. The only thing that isn't allowed in the downtown area is just warehouse storage. And we only have a couple down there that are meeting this criteria. The rest of the people, if Spangler's or one of the businesses down there, they need inventory to run their business, they're perfectly legal to store those materials in the building. Certificate of occupancy. Certificate of occupancy is designed to protect the business owner and the public. In other words, if anybody's planning on occupying a building or storing anything in a building downtown, we require them to request a certificate of occupancy. This gives us the right to ensure that the fire safety and the building structure is up to par so that when they do open their business, it meets all the criteria that we ask them to meet. We have grants and loans available right now for the downtown buildings. Mayor, you spearheaded that, and we haven't had any takers yet, but obviously we've got some larger grants and loans that are available for anybody that wants to develop downtown. We've got an existing building code. We work under the 2006 International Building Code, which covers the fire code, the electrical code, the plumbing code, the building code. All of those different codes is under the 2006. And that's where we get our information. As far as a checklist, I can tell you that we can probably make a general checklist for the downtown people. Obviously, there are going to be specialized things that people are going to come into town and want to put down there.
excuse me, that do not meet the normal occupancy that we would have to address if that came up. But a general checklist is perfectly, we're perfectly capable of giving those people that. You know, when I got here, the big push that I made was that the compliance through cooperation. We want the downtown business owners to call us, talk to us. We want to work with them. Like I say, the primary example is Richard Hunt's building. Paris Bakery is going to be downstairs. They're going to have people living upstairs. We worked tirelessly with him to come up with a solution for he and Chris Dukes next door to be able to do that without costing them an arm and a leg. And I think we did that. And we're willing to work with anybody downtown. But to dispel the myths, this idea of very costly sprinkler systems and very costly building repairs is not true. I mean, the footprint of the building is what we go by, and 12,000 square feet is required before we require a sprinkler system, and most of those buildings downtown do not meet that criteria. Once it's over 12,000 square feet, then we have no choice but to ask them to put a full-grade sprinkler system in. But right now, I can't think of any building downtown that meets that criteria. So, that being said, if we've got a restaurant that comes in down there, yes, we're going to ask them to put in a sprinkler system for that restaurant if it's over 5,000 square feet, which you know and I know that most of those buildings down there don't have a footprint big enough for 5,000 square feet, nor do they have the ability to occupy over 100 people. So, you know, there's a lot of leeway we can give to the business owners downtown. And like I say, I think there's a lot of myths out there, and we're willing to sit down with anybody and discuss that with them.
Anyone has any questions of the fire chief? So my only request would be if you can, even if we don't form a committee, because it looks like you've addressed most of the issues, maybe we can just develop some sort of a easy checklist.
We can.
And come up with it so that it becomes easier, so that if an outside person who's foreign to our city comes in and wants to develop something, instead of being told by somebody who doesn't know that, you know, these are, don't buy it in downtown, this, you know, hell will break loose, excuse my language. So if we can have an easy checklist that,
Sure.
And maybe we could have somebody in the city as a coordinator, be it the fire chief, be it the city manager, so that we can develop the downtown a little bit faster than what we have, and these myths are gone, and people can address easily that, okay, you know what, it's not all that difficult to bring the downtown back to its original life.
I can do that, and I'll get together with the city engineer and the building official, and we'll combine that checklist so it not only covers fire, but it also covers structural and electrical. And
I think that
so
would be
on.
great.
So that, you know, a person knows right up front exactly what they're going to have to do.
That would be perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. No, I think that was very good. Actually, I don't know whether you wrote it or the city manager wrote it, but whoever wrote it did a good job.
I wrote it for the city manager.
I'll take the credit back from him.
He doesn't have, and you don't have anybody to say differently right now.
No, because really that was very, very helpful. It was very helpful
It's
because,
I've heard that since I've been here as the fire chief, and it's just, most of it is just not
well,
true.
I've heard it for the last 10 years that don't try the downtown because it will be miserable. It's really, if you go through that, it is quite obvious that it's not all that difficult.
It's not.
You
It's
need
not.
to have the desire to do it, and most of the things are doable. And the other thing which is very good is if you're able to negotiate some terms.
Right.
I mean, international laws on international city codes are excellent, but what is good for London may not be necessarily perfect for Paris, Texas.
Well, we can stay within the guidelines of the international
Yes.
code and still compromise. You know, they got what the little phrase in there called authority having jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And I'm that person, and that means that I have jurisdiction to waiver from the center line. So we look at each project and we work with the people who are developing.
And I think that's excellent. So thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
You'll develop that sheet and just pass it to the council at some point. Thank you. Item number 20 is discuss bond status and possibility of selling bonds for streets. Actually, I had requested the city manager to just give us an update of how much the money the city owes and what is our status, what bonds are maturing, what bonds are not maturing, etc.
Okay.
So, Jean?
I did do, for the city manager, a little update on the schedule.
Well, he is going to come back tomorrow.
Come back now. Well, this is his punishment for not being here tonight. As far as tax-supported debt, we have 3 issues outstanding. The general obligation refunding that was done in 2010, there's $1.8 million outstanding in it. It will be paid off in 2020. That's the first tax-supported debt issue that we have that will be paid off. We have certificates of obligation that were issued in 2010. There's $3,156,000 outstanding of that. It will not pay off until 2030. The GO refunding bonds that we did in 2012, there's $2,457,000 outstanding in that, and they will pay off in 2022. Okay, so we don't have anything that, and as far as tax-supported debt, that will be paid off earlier than 2020. And that's when you would see a drop off in the debt payments. Do you want to talk about the water and sewer side, or?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Give us it.
On the water and sewer supported debt, we have 3 issues of that. And these are actually, in one case,
Do you have this on the?
No, I provided this to John, but I don't guess he put it in
Okay,
the packet.
all right. It would be nice to see it so that everybody else can see it too.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't have extra copies to pass out.
Maybe we could just put it in the next agenda so that people can see it, or put it on the city website.
Okay. The GO refunding of 2010 that we talked about earlier, that's tax supported. Part of that was water and sewer related, and the water and sewer fund pays for that proportionate portion. There's $2,969,000 of water related debt of that issue, and of course it will also pay off in 2020 like the GO side of it. There's 2 issues that we did in 2013, the CO issues of 2013. There's $2,676,000 outstanding for it. That was the Texas Water Development Board grant that we got, that we had to issue COs, and it was funded in that fashion. Then the other one is the general obligation bonds that we issued in 2013, which is what we're doing the water and sewer line replacements with. It currently has $46,333,000. That's principal and interest on all of these. The 2013 COs, it was Texas Water Development Board. They pay off in 2032. And the GO issue pays off in 2033.
So sum it up, what is the total debt?
Tax supported, there's $7.4 million roughly in water and sewer supported debt. And this is principal and interest both, $51,979,000. That's what we'll actually pay out.
Okay, and we are in relatively good state for paying of both, we are completely accounted for. It's not that we are incurring any issues with payments on any of those.
No, we are in adequate financial condition to pay this debt shouldn't be without a problem.
Okay. Now, I see this, what is this 60 million that you have written?
The engineering department and public works have gone through and have identified all the things that, could use some work. And I think that's the number that's listed there is 60 million, that if you made everything perfect, you'd be talking about that kind of number.
And this is spent over a 10-year period?
Well, if you issue debt for it, you could issue it for whatever time period that you wanted, 10 years, 20 years, or whatever. This was developed as part of a 10-year capital improvement program, just so we would know what was out there. And in terms of trying to, when we budget, to have multiple years in mind on what we needed to do, so we have a goal to work toward each year. Is why that was developed, but it was developed on a 10-year basis. I'm not sure we could spend $60 million in 10 years. It'd probably take us longer to actually spend that much money.
And Gene, I have one other question. Let's say if one was to have a $30 million bond, just arbitrary thing, what is the payment on it? And individual homeowners or property owners, how does it affect them? Supposing this was a completely fresh debt that is not accounted for and it is not related to any other bonds, etc. Roundabout, what would be the payment on that? And if we were to divide that payment over X number of years and see how much does it cost actually in increase in taxes? And I'm not suggesting that's what we should do, I'm just curious on that.
Okay. Give me a second, I'll make an estimate here.
Sure.
I don't have that number, but
Others can keep thinking about questions for Gene in the meantime. Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you very much. And we're going to talk about the website in just a second.
you would probably, and this is rough because these are big numbers for me to do with a pencil. You would probably have to have an annual debt payment of somewhere between $2 and $3 million, depending on what the interest rate turned out to be when we issued.
And what is the current interest rate?
Currently, we're probably talking about 3.5% or 4%. You know, it could be a little lower at the time. Just the market, it changes every day, literally.
When we did the bond for the water and sewer, it was about 2, right?
It varied through the issue. It's about 3.25%, I think, on average. On that. 1 cent on the tax rate would bring in about $150,000.
Okay, so total calculated to? So, yeah, I mean, you'd be somewhere in the neighborhood of probably 15 cents to fund that, if you funded it all with taxes, which would be the normal way to do it. And what would that do to an average property owner?
We had a chance to do this bond. We didn't. That, nobody gave that any credibility.
Yeah, now you do that. Hand me the calculator after I've done this.
Dr. Hashmi, what did you ask him to figure just then? We didn't hear it down here.
I'm sorry?
What did you ask?
I asked him that if we were to take a $30 million debt with X percentage of interest, what is the payment per year?
Right.
And to an average property owner, if we were to take it, how much would it cost in raised taxes per property owner?
Okay, okay, thank you.
Was that the 15 cents that I heard, or?
No, yeah, that's what, if we were to take an entire $30 million debt immediately,
Right.
it will be 15 cents, yeah.
Of course, like I say, I'm doing this
Yeah, just
roughly
I
for
just wanted to-
for $100,000 house. If it took 15 cents on the tax rate to do that, you're talking another $150
A year.
a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So about $10 a month, roundabout, $10 to $15 a month.
Yeah, and don't, like I say, I've done this kind of on the fly,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
We're gonna hold you to
Except
it.
that you're on the record now is the problem.
Yeah, we're gonna hold you to this.
If I can ask you a favor, if we can actually calculate it,
Okay. I can
and then
do
get
that.
back to the council on what the exact figures will be.
And if I'm way off, just,
Yeah.
you know,
Added you.
just.
You better not be way off after 35 years.
That's why we like to know that kind of question in advance.
Does anybody else have any questions for Mr. Anderson on this topic? All right, so you'll get back to us
I'll
on
get
this.
back to
Thank
you.
you very much for doing all the calculations. Item number 21 is an item that I placed, and this is discuss and act on improvement to the city website and an automated public access channel. So we as a council have talked about creating a public information channel. Most of the council did not favor the idea since it involved hiring more staff, old technology, as well as the fact that it was felt that this would involve the city spending more money and not receive all the benefits. At least some of us felt that way. As a result, this idea was shelved. My proposition at this time is that under the auspices of the IT department, create an animated public channel for the residents, accessible by computer as well for the residents. Information on this public channel would give directions to the residents to address the problems that they face in daily life, such as applying for permits, learn rules and regulations, and various ordinances of the city. This should be done without any added expenditure to the city and without employing any further employees. A one-time videographer can be consulted as deemed necessary by the IT department if so necessary. Attached to this should be the fact that the same finances should be used to update the city website. At present, if one wants to access the city website, it takes a lot of running around the website to find certain information. And I'm not saying that you can't find the information and the information is not there. Information may be there, it's just not user-friendly. The website should be easy to navigate, and as such, so that we can quickly find answers to questions without having to spend hours going through it. If the council is in agreement and if this can be funded through what has been discussed without having to spend money on hiring staff or additional funding, we can rediscuss this idea. Now, and what I'm talking about is that whatever grant money that we had, you remember we have discussed this before.
Yeah, we talked about using the.
So my first question to you would be that can that money be used for this purpose or not? Because we don't have per se a public information channel. What I'm talking about is just an animated thing where you can see it on a computer as live stream or wherever, but not have an employee, et cetera, et cetera.
I would think that in order to access those funds, my opinion was, that it has to be cable related. I would yield that to the city attorney to research that.
And you can get internet on the cable, right? So it is cable related.
Well, what the statute says is that you have to set up a specific channel, on the cable system. And I think that's the hook, because you've got the cable funding something that, didn't go through the cable if you just did it on a web basis.
Okay, even if you were to access it through the cable, can one form one-time animated cartoon-like things, questions, answers, what you do, and continuously play it, or does it have to be an active individual doing it? On cable, it can be on cable, I suppose.
Well, if we set up a channel through Suddenlink, the local providers, I think that's what opens up the door. We would have to work through them, see if that would work. But if we go through them, that's what access. We set up a channel through them, that's what gives us access to that money. If we bypass them and don't go through them and just try to do it by enhancing our own website, I would question whether or not that's probably legal.
Okay, but now my next question on this is, supposing we do that, let's say that we go through them and they're able to do it, can some of that money be also used towards improvement of the website? Since some of the access will come from the website, you should be able to access the same channel through our website.
The only, or the primary restriction on that money, once you open up that door, is that it has to be spent on capital expenditures. It can't be any operational expenditures. To the extent that an upgrade to the web system that would allow it to feed,
Well,
that
that's
might be,
capital.
that might be a possibility. I'd have to explore that.
And so, would it not be capital expenditure to create a movie? Would that not be considered capital expenditure?
I'm not sure that creating a program would be considered operational or capital. I would think more than likely it's more operational than capital.
Can we look into it and see what?
Yeah, we can explore that.
Yeah. All right, that's all I wanted. It's open. You're tired.
No, I have no idea what an animated
Well,
cartoon
animated
thing
is, it's just like if you love, I'll give you an example of a cardiac cath, all right?
Okay.
And so what happens is that you come to the office and you've not seen a cardiac cath and you're going to have a cardiac cath done. So you have little computerized bodies that are going to come and they're going to show, one is the doctor, one's the patient lays down and shows how the doctor pokes the groin, puts the needle in, does the procedure. And so it is not an actual human being that is being shown. It is not an actual person on the table. It is just like a cartoon drawing, maybe a better looking than a cartoon drawing, but it's an animated channel so that you can actually see the procedure prior to you having the procedure done, but it's not an individual and it continuously runs over and over and over, so that it's the same thing being repeated. So my thoughts were that, okay, I want to get certificate of occupancy. So you click on certificate of occupancy and it takes you through that these are the rules to get certificate of occupancy. This is what you have to go through, etc., etc. And I'm just taking that example. It could be
Right.
for anything. That's what I meant by animated.
Okay.
Yeah, in addition to anything that they could access on the web, the channel itself is going to have at least 8 hours of programming a day. That would.
And if it is continuously running on its own, you can put it 24 hours a day because there's not a person there to do it, and you can spend one-time money to create that video.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, these are just thoughts. I'm not sure whether it's doable or not doable, and that's what I was thinking that we should look into and see if there is a possibility of doing it.
Okay. All right.
Anybody else?
Yeah, let me make one other comment. I was just looking at that bond calculation. I'm not sure I allowed enough for interest, so I
Were you
did.
going to come back to?
Yeah, because it's hard to
All right.
ballpark that interest number.
Anyway, so if you can just look into it and bring it back and see what, on the bond thing too, as well as on this video thing, if it is doable, if it's allowable, not allowable, whatever it is.
Okay.
I have a question on that. If that money cannot be used for this animated thing, what could be done possibly about the city's website to make it more user-friendly? Because I've had lots of people that have contacted me saying that they have to go, it takes them forever to find something. I know I have that difficulty also.
Yeah, we've wanted to do some upgrades to it. What we really need is about, I think, and Kent can correct me, about $25,000 to upgrade the platform to give us a little more flexibility with that. And I think we could do a lot of improvement if we had that much money to work with. The platform we've got now is limited as to what we can do.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Ms. Harris, can you also look into the funding and see if it is appropriate?
Yes, sir. I've actually been looking at it today. I'll continue.
Okay, all right. But really, even if you want to get to the agenda, you have to log in onto 3 spots before you can finally look at the agenda. And then when you open an item, you have to go revert back to the original agenda to open the next item. One should be able to click, 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 keep going down while you're turning pages, just like we do when we look at it. So, anyway. All right. I think we've discussed it to death now. So. Item number 22 is discuss and provide direction to city staff for citywide cleanup day. Ms. Drake, it's your item?
Yes, I had asked for this to be put on, and I sent just a very short video. As I have been driving around the city looking at the ditches and the problem we had with that, I really got to noticing some, our streets. There's a lot of things at the curb that have been there and that are still at the curb and have been there for a long time. And as you can see through the video, it's not, or the slides, it's not just a one district problem. It's throughout the city. So I drove around this weekend and took some pictures, and I took 55 pictures in an hour and a half, and I didn't even touch the surface. And I just put, this needs to be looked at very quickly. That tree is on a power line. And if we have a storm come through, it's going to come down. If somebody from whoever can report that where it needs to be reported, there at 17th and Cedar, when I saw that, I was like, ooh, I mean, it is way onto that line. But you can just sort of see the different just brush that's piled up. And when you drive up and down the streets of Paris, and you have people coming into our city that's looking to bring a business here or to move their family here, that's not giving us a real good impression of our city. So what I would like to see happen, and I know that the city does not have the resources. You see furniture just sitting out at the curbs. This is just one instant. I saw several driving around yesterday. I know the city cannot do this alone on a cleanup. We don't have the staff, we don't have the resources. It would take the community to come together to do a citywide cleanup. Keep Paris Beautiful does a great job when they have their function to go out and clean up the major thoroughfares from Paris. But it would take, you know, it says a community raises a village to raise a child. Well, this would be what it would take. We would have to get civic organizations together, school organizations, churches. Of course, the city would have to sort of coordinate it. And I'm open to any other ideas that people might throw out there. And y'all may say, Cleon, you're barking up a tree. You know, we can't do that. There's no way. And I know that the city could not go around and pick all of this up. But what I would like to sort of see happen is us come up with a date in early fall when it's cooler and get it publicized so people have plenty of time to know that, say, we're going to give a week or we're going to give 2 weeks for you to make sure everything you have, because I can see things in people's backyard that have been there since the ice storm. And I know that we have elderly people that cannot do it themselves. We have people that once they get it, they either don't have the extra money added to their water bill to get it picked up, or they don't have transportation, a truck or a trailer to load it up themselves and take it to our dump. So I would like to sort of see us try to get some coordination and then say, okay, if everything you have out at your curb, and I'm not saying refrigerators and all of that, I'm just talking about general cleanup, that maybe we can have not only the city that could be available to pick up, that maybe some of these organizations would have trailers and trucks that they would be willing, and then we could have a central drop-off place that people that are picking up from other people could drop it off. It's just a suggestion, it's just a thought I had, because I'm very concerned about the condition our city is getting in or has gotten in. And I was born and raised here, and Paris used to not look this way. And I just think we need to try to, that's just my thought. I just would sort of like to get the thought of the other council members. I'm not saying the city isn't doing a good job. I'm not putting anybody on the spot. I'm not here to criticize. I'm just here, and a lot of it is also a health hazard. Kids playing. You've got, rodents. You've got all sorts of things in this pile of brush and lumber and things that are pulled up. So it really at some point becomes a safety issue. So I just would sort of like to get everybody's thought on that.
I'll give you my thought. I think we should organize a day, and this, I mean, yes, it's going to cost, but eventually the city looks better. So the city should help out too. And if we can get other civic organizations with big dumpsters or whatever it takes to lift the stuff up, and I agree there may be problem with refrigerators, etc. But eventually they look ugly too. Sitting on the road, so why not? I mean, if we're picking up sofas, we should pick them
Well,
up too.
I'm just saying, we would have to have a list of things that could be put out at the curb, and that would be whatever the city or
But
us or whomever decides.
I mean, I think if the city manager can come up with a day and we can all participate in the form
I've
of.
already talked to one gentleman, and he said, let us know when, we'll be there to help, and it's a great organization to get involved with this.
Okay. Anybody else wants to say anything? Nobody wants to say anything?
The only thing I would say is that the Keep Paris Beautiful organization with their trash off, that was a very good thing and kind of a rallying point for the community. And they did a lot of great work in one day. Over time it just kind of fades. So there became apathy, and basically it became people working off probation, and the volunteers just sort of went by the wayside over time. If this is an opportunity to recharge that battery, then certainly I think everybody wants the community.
And that's what I said.
maybe we
Keep
could
Paris
work with them.
Beautiful has done a great job in the past, but they don't get those side streets and, things like that. So this is just sort of a thought of mine.
Can we have a day where the city goes around and picks up everything that is left out? I mean, I know it's a very arbitrary statement, but.
Because I know like brush, you have to have it tied, and it can only be so long and all of this for it to be picked
I
up.
think we could develop a program, and, the biggest problem is can get it up to the curb, because we can't
And
operate
that's
on
why I
private
said,
property.
some of these civic organizations, Boy Scouts, school organizations, if there was someplace like people that would need help to get it there, could call in and say, I need help getting it to my curb, then we could send the Boy Scouts to this lady's house to get it to the curb. And then maybe we would have some people willing to, that day, load it on their trailers if we had somewhere that they could take it to that the city set up.
Well, you want to come up with a day?
Well, I'll be happy to work with the city manager
I
and
mean, we should come up with a day and just try it and see what happens.
see what happens. I mean, the worst you can be is we get 10 people cleaned up. That's 10 more than we did before.
Yeah, and maybe we could talk to KBB with it and have it done with them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll get with, if that's okay with y'all, I'll get with John when he gets back and see what we can do.
Everyone in agreement? That's what it sounds like, okay. All right, we are coming to the end. Item 23, consider and approve future events of city council. Anything that we need to know?
No.
No, okay.
It's hot in here all of a sudden.
All right.
No?
I can't say until you call it.
Item 24.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.